Today we're going to be talking about adding or subtracting fractions. And in order to add fractions, the denominator has to be the same. And what we do is just add the numerators together. So in this case, we have 1/8 plus 5/8. The denominators are the same, so we add the numerators and we get 6/8. Now, we must reduce this. This is what simplest form means, is to reduce. And so you ask yourself, what's the biggest number that will go into both 6 and 8? And that would be 2. So we divide by 2, and we end up with 3/4 for our answer. Okay, so that works out great when the denominators are the same. Now, in this next problem, the denominators are different, so we have to find a common denominator. So we're looking for a number that both 2 and 5 will go into, and let's use 10. That would be the smallest number they would both go into, which is always the easiest one to work with. That is the least common denominator. So we want to change these so that each fraction now has a 10 in the denominator. So we're going to say 2 goes into 10 how many times, and it goes in 5. So we multiply the numerator by 5. 5 times 1 is 5. So our new fraction is 5/10. Now to change the other fraction, 5 goes into 10 twice. So we multiply the numerator times 2, and 2 times 3 is 6. So our new fraction is 6/10. And so 5/10 plus 6/10 is 11/10. Now, I am perfectly happy with you leaving your answer like this. However, if you do want to change it into a mixed number, you would say 10 goes into 11 once, and we have 1 left over. So we'll say 1 and 1/10. Okay? So either one is fine with me. Now let's go on to some subtraction. Now we have 3/8 minus 5/24. Again, the denominators are not the same, so we need to find a common denominator. What number will both 8 and 24 divide into? Well, the smallest one would be 24 for our least common denominator. And so let's change the fractions. 8 goes into 24 3 times. Multiply our numerator times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Now, the other fraction is going to stay exactly the same because 24 goes into 24 once, and 1 times 5 is 5. So if we have 9/24 minus 5/24, that gives us 4/24. And we want to reduce by dividing the numerator and denominator by the biggest common factor that they have. So what's the biggest number that will divide into both 4 and 24? That would be 4. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So we have 1/6. Let's continue with the next fraction. 7/8 minus 5/6. We are looking for a common denominator. The smallest number that both 8 and 6 will go into would be, again, just like the last problem, 24. 8 goes into 24 3 times. 3 times 7 is 21. 6 goes into 24 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. If we subtract the numerators, we end up with 1/24. And that can't be reduced. The only number you could divide the numerator and denominator by would be 1, and that would not change our answer at all. So we still have 1/24. Okay, now let's move on to this one fraction where we have 3 that we're adding together. And so we are going to have to find a common denominator for all 3 fractions. So we want a number that 5, 10, and 15 will all divide into, and the smallest number would be 30. All right, now we're going to change each fraction. 5 goes into 30 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. 10 goes into 30 3 times. 3 times 7 is 21. 15 goes into 30 twice. 2 times 1 is 2. Now we want to add everything together, all the numerators. So we have 12 plus 21 plus 2, which gives us 35/30. We do want to reduce this. What is the biggest number that will divide into both 35 and 30? That would be 5. So we end up with 7 over 6. That's a perfectly fine answer. If you do want to change it to a mixed number, you would say 6 goes into 7 once, and there's 1 left over. So you would write your answer as 1 and 1/6. That's it today for adding and subtracting fractions. Thank you for joining me.